This is Sexy Funny Raw, where we chat all about the world of sex, from dating and relationships all the way to the adult industry itself. I'm Silvia Saige, and this is my Pornspective, answering all the questions you weren't even brave enough to ask Google. Get ready, because Sexy Funny Raw starts now.
Hey, hey, hey. Welcome back to another episode of Sexy Funny Raw. I'm, of course, your host, Silvia Saige, and I am joined in studio with my co-host, Dr. Eddie, giving us his public health perspective. Thank you, Dr. Eddie. And in studio this month, we have actor, comedian, and chef, Dan Faustian. Welcome, Dan.
Thank you for having me. I love your voice, by the way.
My voice?
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Sultry.
Is it?
Absolutely sultry. It's a perfect word.
Good. There we go. I don't know what you're talking about. No, I'm just kidding.
What are you talking about?
So my voice might be something that could help with today's episode, because today we are talking about how to improve your sex life. And I think a little sultry voice might do the trick. I don't know. Just some dirty talk into the ear. I don't know. I love some dirty talk into the ear. Oh, my God. What is it about ears? Dr. Eddie, I know I've already gone off the rails 2 seconds into this episode, but what is it about the earlobes that is like so incredibly sexual?
That's only for some people. Not
is
everybody.
it not everybody?
Not everybody.
Man, I thought, okay, everybody I've ever known, but it's not everybody.
Not everybody. Yeah.
Wow. But there's something about that
There's
neck,
a lot of
ear.
sensitivity. There's a lot of
it's like a private thing too. It's like, here's what I'm gonna do to you when we get home.
Yeah,
and you're like in a group of people or something, and so you can almost even start the foreplay.
Yeah,
then
outside.
with a little like, I can't wait to get you back home.
Yeah. Ooh, I love those words. Can't wait to get you back home. Those are excellent words to whisper in the ear.
Here's the thing we were talking about on my podcast was, I was trying to convince them, because I'm like, the foreplay for me is so important. Like, I will do 30 to 45 minutes sometimes.
Yeah.
And I was like, foreplay I think can start before you even hang out.
What do you consider foreplay? Where do you start?
That's what I'm saying. Okay. I think you can be sexting someone.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And foreplay can start before you're even physically with them. Mm-hmm. And then everyone was like, Dan, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
It's not,
Sexting isn't foreplay. And we spent an hour on it.
It depends how you use it.
I was going to say, I actually think it would be, because I know, say you haven't seen somebody in a long time, and they don't live where you live or whatever, and you're like texting back and forth like, oh my God, I can't wait to see you, like the things I'm going to do to you. I totally get that.
Yeah, it starts the anticipation.
Builds it up. Yeah.
It builds it up.
Yeah,
for sure.
so,
absolutely.
Yeah.
You start looking forward to it more.
Yeah.
And then it's more powerful.
Yeah, that's what it's like. That's why I always say you should miss the person that you're with. Like, take some time. Like, you shouldn't spend every waking moment with your significant other. I think you should be able to miss that person just a little bit, take a breather.
It's probably hard in some people's lives, right? Depending on
guess.
what your life looks like.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the best way to break up with someone, move in. You guys will be out
sure
of it.
to end the relationship.
You just gotta move all your shit. 2 weeks later, move it out. But at least I don't have a girlfriend anymore. Fuck.
It's that moving section.
Yeah.
Unpack there again. Jeez.
Okay, so we definitely know that there are tips and tricks to make your sex more exciting, and we also know that sex in general is so good for your overall health, for your mental stability, for your physical health, just an all-around great way to live your life as a very sexually healthy, driven person. So, how do we make it better for you? I think there's a few ways, and I'm going to start with what we were just talking about, the preparation into sex, like the lead-in, the foreplay. I think pornography forgets so much of that kind of stuff. And,
or you fast forward through it.
Or people are fast forwarding through it. Yeah, absolutely. But there is that connection, that eye connection, the making out. I love making out. Nothing turns me on more than making out. I think that's so phenomenal. And then you also forget pornography has taken away, simple things like caressing a man's dick over his pants, or I like when a man even over my pants would just like rub on my pussy through my pants, or like little things like that, or forgetting to finger. Like, nobody fingers anymore. I miss fingering. Like, just
always finger.
Do you see? So many people are without it, but it's the little things that like building up before the sex. It's not necessarily the sex in general, because what did you say, Dr. Eddie? Generally for a man, it's between 5 and 6 minutes of him coming.
Yeah, that's the average.
That's an
Nationally.
average time. So the sex in general isn't average time. So the sex in general isn't going to be like the creme de la creme of everything. Well, it is the creme de la creme, I guess, but it's not the whole pie.
There's lots of techniques that men use to prolong sex, right? So
right.
Like the average, sure, there's national averages, but there's lots of
tips and tricks
that you can use to prolong it, right? And so it's not like 7 minutes of straight pumping.
Yeah,
can usually get the job done.
Oh, for sure,
if not
yeah.
less.
Yeah.
But mixing it up and all that stuff, most guys know enough to mix it up.
Pull out, stop for a little while.
Right?
Yeah.
Switch positions.
Because it shouldn't just be about him getting off, right? But that is the case in a lot of sexual encounters for some women.
Oh, yeah.
It's about he's going to hit that for 7 minutes and then he's done and he leaves.
Yeah.
And so then the woman is left to either mastrate or not be satisfied, which is quite common, from what I understand.
Yes. Yo, you are accurate. That is quite common.
From what I hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are not a lot of men focusing on like the women's orgasm aspect.
But also it depends on how you learned about sex in general, place, right? So the clitoris is something that constantly gets ignored, but that's how women get off.
Yes.
So if men aren't paying attention to it, or if other women are, whoever your partner is, isn't paying attention to it, I probably imagine that probably happens less with women.
Yes.
But it certainly is an important thing to focus on, and not what you learn in pornography or not what you learn in other environments.
It's interesting that you said that women to women, that you think that...
Maybe, yeah.
I was going to say, so as a woman who performs cunnilingus on other women and has it performed vice versa, I will say you have maybe a little bit more inclining, but because each female body is so wildly different, whether it be how her uterus is tilted or whether or not, she has a more clitoral stimulation or more internal stimulation. So it really just matters so individually that if you're not asking the appropriate questions and you're not really taking any time to like watch her, I find like watching someone's like facial expressions and what they're actually into is like a huge key factor if you know what you're doing is like helping them or like hurting.
I'm just wondering how you're getting those. How you're fingering anyone with those nails.
Everyone always fears these things. I will tell you, I don't do a lot of like girl scenes with these, but if I do, I very much let them know like, hey, this is the sitch. This is what's going on. I'll just be very careful. And so I usually will even ask them too, like, do you tilt any certain way? Like, what's the best way of entry? And before we have sex, we always do photos. So the photos kind of walk us through sex. So when I'm on set with a woman and sometimes she'll even say like, hey, please don't put your fingers inside of me, whether maybe she's on her period or she's like about to start her period and she's just cramping. So sometimes I'll ask that you just not do that, or if they do, sometimes I'll have them like guide my fingers in to show me like which way I need to go and what's gonna please them when I'm in there.
It's kind of hot.
Right? Yeah.
Guide me in.
Lube will probably help as well.
Let's talk about it, because lube is everyone's friend. And I think that it gets a weird rap that it's like it's specifically for gay men or specifically for anal sex, or that it's specifically for women when they get older because they're losing the wetness. But that's not the case. Lubrication makes things better for everyone. It's for men and it's for women. It's for vaginal as well as it is anything. I think a lot of men are so used to using their own spit or using lotion for their own masturbation needs. But first off, lotion should never ever be used in a sexual scenario. If you bring lotion near a woman's vagina, she should shoot you. But secondly, spit is not a lubrication.
No Jergens in my pussy.
Yeah. Spit is not lubrication, though. And I think a lot of people forget that. So it can serve as a very temporary fix, but that's just it. It's incredibly temporary, as opposed to lube will prolong the wet experience and just less friction in general.
I mean, probably tied to that would be the emphasis on foreplay and getting right. So if you're engaging in sexual behavior with a woman, it takes maybe a little bit more to get her aroused.
Yes.
Right. And so putting in that initial work might help that a little bit.
Yeah.
But still, on the other end, lube is everybody's friend, and sex would be better everywhere if we all used more lube.
Yeah.
And it'd be safer, actually, too.
What's the best kind that Dr. Eddie recommends?
Oh, I mean, A lot of the water-based
I was going to say, we talked about water-based.
It really depends on if you're using condoms or not using condoms, and it's really specific to those things, right? So oil-based ones would be bad for condoms. Water-based ones are great. They work with condoms well. You could use either if you're not using condoms, so it doesn't matter that much. I don't know if there's a specific brand. There's certainly lots of really great brands out there. But there's also really bad ones. I would stay away from ones that are like jelly that don't tell you what's inside of them, right? Because jellies could be a variety of different chemicals and things like that. So, like, I would make sure that you know what the ingredients are. And we had spoken about this in a different...
I was going to say, I want to touch on that again. So I've said in the past that my favorite lubricant is coconut oil, but that you have to be very careful with coconut oil because it also can still gain bacteria that will grow within the vat itself if you're getting like a large, because I think a lot of people are like, oh, that's a jar that's in my kitchen for cooking, but that's not what you want to be using. I like to order, and you can buy them on Amazon. They're little single application packets of coconut oil, and those are the best because they're one and done. Throw them away. And
lube comes that way too. They used to have them out at nightclubs and stuff years ago.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, did they? That's. Yeah. I mean, I know they come little sample sizes in the store.
And lube bins, right?
Yeah.
Because especially using condoms, you really, really, absolutely want to use lube.
Yes.
Yeah.
But even without condoms, you want to use lube.
Well, because without lube, there are so many more chances for tears and infections. Like, lube in general can just save you so much. Like, so much pain. And
I would say invest in your sex life and invest in yourself. I think it's absolutely a part of self-care.
No, I 100% agree with that. Yeah. Have it next to your bed at all cases. And I travel. I travel with the travel size coconut oils. Don't think I don't. They're always in my purse. So I just think and in porn, we don't show that. And so I think because so many people do use porn as like an educational base, and when we are shooting porn, I think it's so stupid, but what they will do is either cut for one, or they'll pan up towards the performer's face, and then someone will come over, like a PA will come over and put lube on your pussy for you, like while you're making like porn faces. But it's stupid. The fact that we're not showing the actual application of lubricant, because we are using it. There's not a single porn set that doesn't have 9 million types of lubrication in it. So it is there.
Right there on the crafty table.
It is. It's literally usually like behind the couch. It's like just out of view behind the couch, so you can't see it, which is stupid, but
so
it is there.
Everybody look for the
look for the lube and see if you can
see
if you can spot the lube in any scenes. It's always there. It's always there. So a good thing to keep in mind also is having some mobility, not only to yourself physically, like maybe I know I honestly, everyone thinks I joke about this, but I stretch and work out before every scene because I know what I'm about to get into is going to be some of not the most comfortable positions that I've ever been in. And I will probably be squatting for a good 5 to 10 minutes of the day over a penis, So I like to do a nice stretch, like an easy workout before I go in, but having some mobility to both you and your sex life, not staying in the missionary position, like switching it up and trying different things, which again, where pornography can be a good thing, where you might learn a few different positions, or grab yourself a Kama Sutra book if the library is more your jam, so
it's also really, really important as we age.
100%.
Right? Because it's really different when we're in our 20s and 30s, and then when we're in our 40s, and then later, it's also going to change because mobility is being restricted even more as we go.
And we still want to be having sex into our old age.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, but to do that, we also need to make sure that we're mobile, and we have to take into account the changes that our bodies are going through.
Yeah.
Right. So some things that you could do in your 20s, you probably can't do in your 40s.
Yeah. No.
Whatever the case may be. And so being conscious of that, I think, is super important.
Oh, yeah. My mind is still 22, but my body is definitely like,
I hear that.
That's cute. So I definitely think that's important. Have you ever been with somebody who was stuck in one position, just refused to be outside of missionary or outside of doggy? You're like, no, my sex is exciting. I
don't know. I was with a girl, we had 2 dates, and she didn't like when it was sex time, it was just time to have sex.
No foreplay.
No foreplay. And I'm
Okay.
like, girl, I got to warm up. I got to get my mobility straight.
Yeah.
I want us kissing. I want us touching.
Yeah.
I want to feel you. I don't want to just put my dick in a hole immediately.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm not even erect yet. I need a little. So that didn't really work out.
Yeah.
That happens more as we get older, for sure.
I was going to say, I think sometimes women also forget that men are not always just rock hard walking around the fucking city either. Like, you do have to get
In
to
my
that
20s,
build
yes.
up state.
In my 20s, yes, for
Absolutely.
sure. Rock hard all the time.
But I mean, I definitely know I've been with men who are into me, like it's my, my partner, and I know that it's nothing that I'm doing that they're not erect yet, but same, like we'll go to have sex and I pull their pants down and I'm like ready for them to just be like King, Arthur. I don't even know why I brought that. Why Arthur came to my brain, but I want him to be like the strong soldier, and then you get down there and you're like, oh, you're not ready for me, and it's like a little insult to yourself, but it's fine. You just have to like regather yourself and realize that
But it's not about you.
I know it's not about me,
about you.
but it feels very about you in that moment in time.
It's like, what the fuck, dude?
Ladies, it's not about you.
I wanted you to be King Arthur and you're Prince Flaccid.
Caliber.
Prince Flaccid.
Prince Flaccid.
Oh, Jesus. No, I know it's not always us. But it is. It's a stimulant for both people. They both need to be like warmed up and brought into that.
And
Like,
I think that's
sexual
something
moment.
like it's nice to talk about too.
Yes, that's what
she didn't want to talk. She just wanted to go.
that is.
She
so
also put
so
one song
key.
on repeat.
Just the same song.
The same song.
Like,
Well, it
was
really
it her
depends on
sex
what-
song?
It was like Pony by Genuine. So like I'm trying to warm up,
Ride
but
it,
she's already putting
my
on the fuck
pony.
song, and I'm like, I want a warm up song
Right.
before.
That's not your
I can't
warm-up
ride
song?
the pony if the pony's not even saddled up. You know what I mean?
That's hilarious. I wonder, is this a long time ago?
No.
Oh, this is so
Saturday.
recent. Yeah, I'm like, that
3 weeks
song
ago.
hasn't been popular
She
in
was like,
like
you
20
just call me
years
whenever you want to hook
also.
up, and I was like,
I will wait.
I was
Can
like,
I
I'm
choose
glad that you
music?
thought
Yeah.
this was so good because I had a terrible time.
But I love that you did say communicate, though, because a huge thing that I think so many people have a problem with is communicating during sex. So I think a big thing that you can do, and Dr. Eddie, you've mentioned this so many times before, is writing down your fantasies, because verbalizing fantasies to somebody can be extremely hard, but writing them down maybe not as difficult, right? And like just sliding into some like a suggestion box, maybe some things
Depending on what your home life is like.
Okay.
Let's be careful with these
Yeah.
notes.
Yeah,
Okay.
put them on
and
the
these
fridge.
lists. Let's be careful.
Mommy, why does it say double penetration on the fridge?
Let's just
with Uncle Matty. Well, I don't understand.
Wow. You're both projecting quite a bit in here. There's a lot going on in this room.
we need some threesomes is what's happening. We need it real life
I've
scenarios.
never had a threesome.
I mean,
I'm sorry.
I've
Sylvia's like,
had
me
a lot. I was
neither.
going to say I've had quite
I
a
had
lot.
a threesome right before this.
It was actually yesterday, but let's no, just kidding. Okay, sorry, Dr. Eddie, I cut you off. I'm so sorry.
He's like, who the fuck are these people?
No, I think we're good.
Be careful what household
Right, well,
you are
just
putting
saying,
these
be
notes
conscious
in.
of these things, right? Like,
Yeah.
Sexting is great and fun within consenting adults, but it takes both to consent to these things.
True.
And making sure that everybody's okay with what we're doing.
Yeah.
And that it's not like crossing over and like bleeding into the rest of your life, or the wrong person is seeing these things. I think we should just need to be a little bit more cautious. 'Cause
Yeah.
in the world we live in, there's so much where things are just out there.
Yeah.
Where everybody's naked pics are out there, and
Yeah.
everybody's like messages are out there, and they're in the world forever.
Yeah.
And so like, let's just be conscious of those things and like, be responsible adults that we are to the best of our ability.
Well, no, of course, but you still want to be able to like spice it up, but respectfully. Is that's what you're saying? Like
Definitely.
spice it up respectfully.
Thoughtfully.
Okay,
Yeah, that's all.
thoughtfully.
Do it. Absolutely.
Right.
Do tons of it.
Yeah.
Just let's be conscious of how we're doing it, where we're doing it, who's reading this.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
All right. So don't put them on your fridge. Don't put your sexual suggestions on the fridge next to the kids' artwork. That's what Dr. Eddie is saying. So
Don't get
what
fired at work for reading these things or potentially seeing naked pictures and
Right.
someone else. It could really make somebody else uncomfortable. right?
Well, speaking of that, that's a nice way to spice things up. Is some naked photos sent to one another? Maybe I don't know.
Absolutely, responsibly, with consent.
Right.
Right? Yeah, I'm on board.
And make sure that they're not going to be like in a board meeting when they get the.
Well, that could even be hot in itself, but it really just depends. And especially in the culture that we live in, where people just send naked pictures without asking for permission and with all of those things, that is foreplay for some people in this world right now.
I send naked pictures without asking all the time, so
you're probably not getting any.
It's like he's in the board meeting and it's like iMessage is hooked up to the computer.
Yes,
and Sylvia's like, look at my tits, and he's like. Well, they are a nice pair of tits, gentlemen, but...
Moving on to the budget. No.
Exactly, that's all.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. So, and obviously in trying to do things respectfully also, I think...
That was like a loading the way that you just said that. Okay.
But I think an easier way, other than like dropping these notes around the house, I think an easier way to like spice up a relationship that maybe you feel has kind of taken a downward spiral for your sex life, start with things as simple as like a touch, touching their leg, maybe holding their hand, a caressing of the hair. Again, I'm bringing it back to the ears just because they're my favorite, but like a kissing of the ears or the neck, of just like that soft touch to kind of remind somebody, because I know I've definitely not been in the mood at all for sex and then felt those little touches and you're like, oh wait, maybe I am in the mood for this. Yeah.
We don't touch each other that much anymore.
I agree.
Touch massage is a great way to...
Oh,
sure, but who's the one doing it and who's the one getting it? And is that the standard in the relationship? And so that could create a burden on one partner versus another.
Yeah.
Right? And so I would say, yes, absolutely a ton of it, as long as it's like everybody's getting what they need and want. And that's not always what happens. I think.
No, I agree. But if you're not... with that partner at that said moment in time, another way to continually improve the sex life, by touching yourself. Masturbation is the key to a better sex life for both you, for your partner, for everybody involved. Knowing how to get yourself off, then you can bring that to the table and be like, hey, by the way, this is what gets me off, X, Y, and Z. I'm constantly asking people, new partners that I'm with, what is their thing? If I'm with a man, it's, can I put your balls in my mouth? Like, how sensitive are they? Like, what do you like happening with them? Do you like a stroking of your penis while I'm sucking it? Like, I'm asking all these things, and it's the same way with women. And I really love putting ladies' feet in my mouth or rimming their little cute buttholes. But I have to make sure that this is going to be okay with them before I go, down that path. Everyone got real silent. Everybody got real quiet.
Give me links to this.
Probably, actually.
Yes, there are.
Just for educational purposes.
Right.
Guys are just trying to be a better lover.
But learning yourself, that's the key to that. Learning yourself and learning ways to get yourself off and communicating that correctly to your partner is what I'm saying.
100%. I think that's probably the most important takeaway.
And ladies, do those Kegel exercises.
Kegel exercises.
Did you know, Dr. Eddie just learned this actually. So did you know, ladies, that there are Kegel exercises that you can be doing? We actually have a photo of these. Okay, so these are little weights actually that you can put inside your vagina. Obviously, you want to start with the lowest weight and then you can work your way up.
Or you can start without any weight.
Yes.
And so...
previously,
I only thought that there was like one. I never really thought about different weights.
Yeah.
So the different weights component of it was very new to me.
Yeah.
But certainly Kegel exercises people do them all the time.
Right. And what it is building up that, the floor, the pelvic floor.
Pelvic floor, for sure.
Yeah. And keeping it healthier and tighter and able to withstand more weight. I got my Kegel box at home. I have not opened it yet. I need to get to it. I coughed and pissed today, so I gotta really get on my Kegels. Things are going south, kids. Things are going south. All right.
Are Kegels, are they just for women?
They're not just for women.
That's a really great question. I thought they were, so good to know.
No, definitely. Guys also can work on their pelvic floor.
Are they called Kegels?
They are.
How do they do them, though?
Yeah, I mean, as if you're restricting.
He laughed. The sound guy laughed at my Hegel joke.
I agree.
Pretty much the highlight.
Even though they're called but it's as if you're restricting or you're cutting off your urination, right?
Oh.
So you do that and squeezing.
Okay, I just did
sphincter.
one.
Yeah, but you can do them everywhere, right? So you can do them. So you want to do it, hold it for a few seconds, and let it go, and do that.
Let's all do one together. Ready?
Okay, there we go.
I did.
Oh, so I learned this the other day. I was going to a show north of Santa Barbara, and like I really had to pee. I was like, it's okay, I'll hold it. And the guy driving, he's my gay friend, he's a comedian. He was like, never hold your pee. It can cause ED, erectile dysfunction, if you hold your pee. Is this true, Dr. Eddie?
Okay, so erectile dysfunction happens for a variety of different reasons, and so it depends on your age group, and it depends on all of those things.
And how much pee you hold every day?
So holding and restricting it isn't good for you and your bladder.
Sounds like a Kegel.
But not necessarily equal, like X doesn't equal erectile dysfunction per se. But it can certainly be a symptom of things heading in that direction. Because ED happens for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
And a lot of times or not a lot of times, but sometimes it has nothing to do with the physical and it's mental. And other times it is physical, and where there might be some physical, like medical things happening.
Yeah.
And so those distinctions are really important, but ED is pretty common, and it happens to most guys at some point.
We've all had a situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, but there's also a lot of stigma around it, right? Because for men, especially, it's tied to our masculinity and tied to all of those things. And women, still, that if women don't understand a lot of those things that are happening.
She got mad at old boy over here.
Right. And so, all of those things, but we're not saying that he had erectile dysfunction, right? But all of those things are really related.
Yeah.
And especially in this culture and society, we put a lot of emphasis on that expectation for men. That
of
creates
course.
a variety of problems.
Yeah.
And so it's not really fair.
Yeah.
Right? I know that, like, we don't necessarily talk about, like, fairness when it comes to men, because there's, like, a long history of all of that stuff. But things have changed for men recently, and stresses are different. The world is different for all of us involved. And it's really important that we understand the other, right? So men need to understand women. Women need to understand men. Mm-hmm. We all need to understand trans, right?
Yeah.
So, like, there's all of these important things in the world that we should all understand, because that is being human.
But that's just communication and key, honestly. Like taking a little humility and mixing it with a little education, and just making yourself more aware of who and what else is in the world and how you can make yourself a better person off of that.
So holding in urine per se won't lead to ED.
Did you get it?
But you can certainly get infections and stuff.
Don't hold your pee.
I got to pee right now. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, that's good because we're done here. So
well, it's full of pheromones too. So that's a whole different story.
True. That is true. That's how
it.
people are attracted to you, through your piss and your sweat, all sorts of things.
Definitely.
We got a whole episode on it. You can check it out.
Dang.
Definitely.
All right, guys. So improve your sex life. We want you to communicate, get out there, use lubrication by, my God, anytime, all the times, always just keep it in your pocket. I want everybody going out and buying, a little pocket lube to keep in your pocket next to your condoms. Do your Kegels, ladies, gentlemen as well. I now learn that men can also do Kegels. Learn something new every day. I love it. Keep spicing it up, guys. Keep watching your porn. Mostly me, whatever you want to search. And then tell the people where they can find you. Dan, I almost left you out.
Dan Faustian, just my name on Instagram. I run a comedy rock and roll show here in Los Angeles called Hard Lemonade LA on Instagram. And you can also find my podcast called Line Cook Energy at Line Cook Energy on Instagram. Hit me up, lube it up.
I love it. Nice exit right there.
Thank you.
All right, Dr. Eddie, thank you again for all of your advice and your public health perspective. We appreciate you so much. And until next time, guys, adios.